Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Courtney. If you don't know me already, welcome in. So actually, I don't know why I haven't done this video earlier. This is Territories of the USA by Geography Now. Yeah, I'm just surprised I haven't watched this earlier. I know that the USA has territories around the world, such as Guam, but I don't know the full extent and the history behind it all. So this is going to be interesting for me. I don't know if this is common knowledge for Americans to know as well. I'm not too sure, but let's get into the video. Hopefully you guys enjoy.
Hey everybody, so this is going to be a filler week episode. Now, I've done a video on the states of the United States. I did a video on the largest cities of the United States. And by popular demand, now we're going to do the territories of the United States. And a lot of people think the USA is just 50 states. But we got a little bit more than that. Besides the federal district of Washington, D.C., our capital, we also have...
You know, until a year ago, I always thought that Washington, D.C. was a state. And my mind was blown when I found out that it's not a state. And I felt really stupid. Washington, D.C. is not a state. It is in Maryland. It is in the state of Maryland.
5 inhabited island territories across the Caribbean and Pacific. In addition, we also have 10 uninhabited or temporary...
Oh, what are these? U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Guam, American Samoa. Those are the only ones that I recognize.
Barely inhabited islands and 2 disputed ones, but we'll get to that later. In this episode, we're going to talk about the inhabited territories of the United States. What is a territory? A territory is not a state, but it still falls under the overarching sovereignty of the United States. All these territories kind of have their own level of self-home rule, but the U.S. government and the military and a lot of their social services still apply to these places. And they're divided kind of weirdly. Like there's commonwealths, there's organized, unorganized, incorporated, unincorporated territories. We'll get to that.
It's complicated, right?
Let's start off. American Samoa. Capital, Pago Pago. It is located in the region of Polynesia. This territory is made up of 5 main islands, the largest ones being Tatuila and Manua. They have 2 official languages, obviously English and Samoan, and it is an unincorporated, unorganized territory. Out of all the territories, this is probably the weirdest one because the people here are not born as citizens, but rather USA nationals.
What? The heck?
It basically means they're almost like citizens. They can pretty much move about to the U.S. and anywhere they want for an indefinite period of time. And if they want citizenship, they can get it after like 3 months. It's really not hard for these people to
That's so weird.
They have a representative delegate in the House of Representatives, but they cannot vote on presidential elections. Basically, this territory kind of fell under the U.S. at the end of the 19th century. Essentially, Germany took over the west part and the U.S. took over the east part. And in 1966, the UN actually kind of threw out the option if they wanted to join the independent state of Samoa, but surprisingly, they actually said no, and they preferred to stick with the U.S. So that's kind of how this territory stuck with the U.S. instead of joining Samoa. And it's really weird because they sit on the international date line. So
oh my goodness,
an entire day ahead of American Samoa, even though they're only like less than 100 miles.
Oh my goodness, I've always wondered why there's Samoa and there's American Samoa. I've always wondered that. So now I guess I know. Look at that line. They're like right next to each other, but a complete day apart. That is so interesting and weird. But imagine if it was the same country, right? And they still had that date line. That would be weird too.
Miles away. Fun fact, the law of Aiga applies to Samoa, which means that nobody who has less than half Samoan blood can own land in this area. They have a lot of self-rule autonomy. They even have their own legislative community called the Fono. They can make their own laws, but large-scale policies have to be approved by the USA. They are the cousins of the independent state of Samoa, basically. And fun fact, Samoans are kind of like the strong, powerful weapon of Americans. We love using them in like athletics. According to Forbes,
same in New Zealand too.
Is about 56 times more likely to be drafted in the NFL than non-Samoan players. They're known for just being very big, strong people. I mean, come on, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is half Samoan. It's just, strength is just in their blood. A lot of them join the military. These guys are like the Pacific Islander Spartan Polynesians of the U.S.
Spartans.
Love you, Samoa. Guam, capital Hagåtña.
Here's Guam. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize there was only 168,000 people in Guam. For some reason, I thought it had more people. That's so minuscule.
Micronesia. These people are Micronesians. And it is an unincorporated, organized territory.
168,000.
Here do have citizenship. It's basically one big island with a few small rock islets, divided into 19 municipal villages. There are multiple U.S. military bases on the island. The motto is, it's the place where America's day begins.
Oh, that's funny.
So it's technically the earliest time zone area of U.S. territory. They
That's
do have a
interesting.
delegate to the House of Representatives, and they can vote on committee meetings, but not floor votes. They can vote for U.S. presidential elections, but they don't really have a seat in the Electoral College, so it doesn't really matter, kind of. But anyway, yeah, they have a strong Micronesian culture and heritage. The language of Guam and the Mariana Islands is Chamorro. It's actually really diverse. There's a lot of Asians here as well. It's a strong military presence island with Micronesian culture and heritage. The Northern Mariana Islands.
Oh, here we
capital
go.
being Saipan. It is an unincorporated, organized commonwealth of
Never heard of this place before.
the U.S. Basically the cousins to Guam. Again, it is located in the Pacific region of Micronesia. These people are Micronesians. It is the most recent territory to join back in 1986.
Wow.
1975, they were given the option for independence, but they decided to stick with the U.S. And then in the 80s, they decided to be fully integrated. You know, back when all that whole free association state thing was happening with Palau and Micronesia, Marshall Islands. The 80s was a weird time for territories, and a lot of, and then this happened. Basically, there are 14 islands divided into 15 municipalities. It is a trilingual territory with English, Chamorro, and Carolinian being the three main languages.
Wow, I've never heard of those two languages before.
And the funny thing is, they actually kind of wanted to join Guam like 4 times as one unified territory.
I can't believe how complicated it gets, eh?
Cousins, they're like the same people, but Guam was kind of like, you do your own thing, I'll do my own thing. Anyway, funny thing is, there's actually more Filipinos here than there are Micronesians.
Oh my
The southern
goodness.
islands are limestone, and the northern islands are volcanic. Just like all the other territories, they have a delegate to the House of Representatives, but they cannot vote on the floor. But yeah, really cool place. I kind of want to go there. So interesting. That's part of my country. Puerto Rico. Pretty sure you all have heard of this one.
Yes.
Capital San Juan.
Wow, 3.3 million. I'm getting so surprised by these population numbers. I thought there was less people in Puerto Rico. Wow.
This is the largest and most populous of all the territories with over 3.3 million people. It is an unincorporated, organized Commonwealth territory located in the Caribbean. These people are known as Boricuas, and along with the Cubans and Dominicans, they make up the trifecta of Latin Caribbeans. They come in all different shades and colors. You got the white Puerto Ricans, black Puerto Ricans, mestizo Puerto Ricans. I mean, we all know that music video, Despacito. That was basically a clear depiction of how the populace looks like. Now, here's the thing. Puerto Rico...
I don't know that video.
In every logical sense, its own country, but it still falls under U.S. territory status. If you ask any Puerto Rican, though, the vast majority of them will say they identify as being Puerto Rican first, and maybe with like a little American touch, flavor, spice added into the mix. Puerto Ricans are like the unicorn of the Latin world. Like when Latinos meet Puerto Ricans, they're like, oh, you're Puerto Rican. Ooh, dang, can I buy you a drink? Say something in Boricua. And the Puerto Rican is like, ay bendito. Oh my God, you so edare. Quiero ser tu mejor amigo, por favor.
Oh, that was pretty good.
But come on, we all kind of know Puerto Ricans are kind of sexy. It's like, come on. And I know they talk a lot about like independence and stuff like that, but it's like, come on. You guys are like the coolest Latinos ever. We like giving you citizenship.
I mean, to be fair, if you're part of these territories of the USA, it's definitely a big opportunity, I feel like. Do you know what I mean? Like to come from such a small island with limited opportunity, and if you're a territory of the USA with the opportunity to go to like mainland USA, I don't know how that works, but I'm sure it would open up the opportunity for you to go to USA, to mainland USA, and create a life there. That's a huge opportunity that a lot of people around the world don't have access to. But of course, I'm sure there's also downsides of being a territory of the USA. I'm not super clued up on it, but obviously there's pros and cons to most things, so I'm not naive in the fact that there are probably downsides as well. I'm just not sure what they are. Anywho, let's keep going.
with us. One day I should just do a whole video on Puerto Rico because it's just so complex. But for now, sorry, gotta move on. And the last U.S. territory, the U.S. Virgin Islands. Capital, Charlotte Amalie.
Only 107,000 people. Wow.
Located in the Caribbean, it is an unincorporated organized territory, so the people here are citizens as well. The territory is made up of 3 main islands, St. Thomas, St. John, and St. Croix. Basically, we bought these islands from Denmark back in 1917.
Wow, you bought them?
Thing the Danes had in the Caribbean, and we kind of just took it from them. Sorry, Denmark. But you still see some leftover residue of Danish culture and influence. Like some of the people still have like Danish last names, and some of the street signs are
makes
still
sense.
Danish.
Makes
They
sense.
are also non-self-governing. And the funny thing is, it's also kind of known for being like a tax haven. They act as a customs territory with free ports, and the residents are not subject to federal income taxes, and they basically just pay their taxes to the territory at a similar ratio.
Excuse me?
3/4 of the population are black, and the rest are mostly whites with a few Asians and Latinos mixed in. They have their own Creole, especially on the island of St. Croix. And it's also like a honeymoon destination. You know, a lot of people go here for their weddings and honeymoons afterwards.
Nice.
And, you know, it's tropical Caribbean, beautiful
vibes,
So,
wedding,
if you're gonna go
beach
here for your honeymoon,
vibes.
it's definitely not a place where you're going to be a virgin anymore. Anywho, those are all of the inhabited territories. As we mentioned in all the previous episodes, we already did Palau, Micronesia, Marshall Islands. Those 3 countries are in free association with the U.S., and the U.S. still has military bases on those countries, but we have an agreement where it's like they can move to our country freely, and like they're privileged. They can like become American citizens very easily, kind of like American Samoa. You know, we give them
See, that would be
services,
amazing.
and they give us, you know, areas for our military bases. It's like we have a very good, close connection with them. And on top of that, we have 10 other uninhabited or temporarily inhabited by military personnel island territories. They are Baker Island, Howland Island, Jarvis Island.
Oh, they
Johnson
teensy
Atoll, which is
weensy,
weird
aren't
because it's
they?
an incorporated, unorganized territory. I don't even get that. That's like, how is it incorporated but unorganized? Kingman Reef, Midway Atoll,
No idea.
Navassa Island, Palmyra Atoll, and Wake Island. In addition, we have 2 disputed island territories, Baja Nuevo and Serranía.
Disputed? By who?
It gets even more complicated because the U.S. has over 560 recognized Native American Indian tribes, and there are 326 Indian reservations that most of them either live on or have land on. Not all the tribes have reservations. Some of the tribes have more than one reservation. Some of them share a reservation. Some of them have reservations within other reservations. It's weird. But yeah, the U.S. has a lot of interesting confusion when it comes to administrative divisions. And it's fascinating when you kind of dive deeper into it. That's my country. We got states, a federal district, we have territories, we have reservations, we have... It's
a lot of territories.
Crazy puzzle of the United States. Anyway, this was fun. Hope you learned something. If not, at least you could get a Geography Now t-shirt at geography.com. Hope you have a good one. Stay tuned.
That was awesome. Wow. That was extremely informative, actually. Well, informative in a way where I got an overall backstory of the territories. I feel like it's way more complicated than what the video can show because there's only so much that you can talk about in one video. Like each territory would have an entire history that would be very, very complicated. That would take a long time to explain each territory, but that was a good widespread explanation of the territories, I think. I feel like Geography Now is such a good channel to get an introductory based lesson, I guess, to a country or a topic or a culture. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. If you guys have anything to add, feel free down below. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.
Tell me what I want, just keep searching on. It's never enough, cup after cup, blunt after blunt.